Welcome, everybody, to Elijah and Cole's podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we were just going to do a round, kind of introduce ourselves, run into just a bit of background on us, where we grew up, maybe a few stories each from us, and then see where we're at for time.
Yeah. See what's what.
Yeah.
To be totally honest, I didn't think about any stories
No?
from our... Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I could go first. I mean, I'm going to just shoot on a limb here. I'm going to say your viewers probably know who you are.
Oh, maybe.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, well, so Cole's probably the more well-known of the two of us. My name is Elijah. We both grew up in a beautiful valley on the west coast of Canada. I grew up in a very rural farm. I had 3 other brothers alongside myself and a couple of foster brothers growing up. A couple of good memories out there. I remember one time my brother Stephanie tied himself.
Yeah, Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie. I'm not going to use my brother's real names. They might get milk. So my brother Stephanie here, he was supposed to take our milk cow, go fetch it in the field and take it over and milk this cow. And it was a miniature cow, right? So it's not very big. It's only like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And so my brother had the great idea that he was going to tie the cow. It was haltered to himself, like to his waist. And so he tied it was a bowline to himself.
Yeah.
To this cow.
Yeah.
And then the cow freaked out and drug him 100 feet and then into a fence, and the cow got all tangled up in her own rope, and the fence and got all tangled up in the rope. Stephanie. Anyways, and so finally we all hear this and we come running out and we're just like, oh my God, what did you do?
Yeah.
It was so bad. And, it's only hindsight. This is now 20 something years later and I can laugh about it now, but yeah, man, it was pretty crazy though, watching that, what a little cow could do to somebody.
Yeah. God.
For me.
Well, I don't think I've ever actually milked a cow or anything other than, slaughter them. And by the way, guys, I am actually a butcher, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
Went to university and whatnot, got actually certified for it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like it. Yeah.
Well, I could see anybody not really liking that though, day in, day out, and all you're doing is ending life and cutting up meat.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Maybe you should talk about that. Where were you?
Oh God. I was in Redstone at the time, and yeah, it was just literally middle of buttfuck nowhere. So maybe 400 people up there?
Maybe. That's might be 200 people.
That might be generous.
That might be very generous.
Within 70 kilometers, there's probably 100 people.
Yeah.
Where I worked and kind of lived. I guess I was within 70. Yeah. Anyways, it was just not what I was looking into, because I was hired there to be just go there, cut meat. That's what I was hired for.
Yep.
And then I became the head butcher there and started slaughtering cows and sheep and pig and whatnot. So, God, it was, yeah, it's fun doing it once in a while, because we're both hunters and whatnot, so we're kind of used to it.
Mm-hmm.
We may not like it. I
don't think anybody really likes it.
No. You just kind of become desensitized to it. It's
well, you have to. I mean, when you're taking a life, it's a pretty big ordeal. Even growing up on the farm, we killed a lot of cows, but it was never consecutive like you had to do. It was we'd kill maybe one a year, right? And then it was all we'd butcher our own meat, and we packaged it ourselves, and it went all into our freezer, and that's what we ate throughout the year between that and the garden. But doing it on scaled up,
every Tuesday I just would at the time we didn't like it calling it slaughtering. We called it harvesting the cows and lambs and pigs, and goddamn, God, it was just so much.
Too many.
Yeah. And God, you know how you would defur a pig
No.
because pigs do have fur on them.
Very
So
bristly.
yeah, like really coarse.
Yeah.
Not as much as boars though, but still.
Yeah.
So what we would do is we would go and use the stun gun, which was this like, I don't know, baton looking thing that you'd put like, I don't know, half a size of a 9mm blank in there that shoots a spike out and hits their brain, which stuns them. You can't see me right now, but I'm doing quotation marks. But it goes into their brain and, stuns them. And then, we'd bleed them out and whatnot. And then, we'd just put them on this table and then chuck them into this, like, boiling vat with, or it wasn't boiling per se. It was goddamn near really hot. Like, we put them in there, and then there's these rubber fingers would slap the pig around to remove all the fur.
Oh, I've seen those things.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
It's like the whole chicken thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was picturing.
Yeah, it's like that, but for a pig.
But I understand those beaters, man. It's like the worst thing. It's just like watching something get bludgeoned.
Yes.
Repeatedly.
Yes.
Like you stick it in there purposefully, and it's just like popping and snapping. I don't know if people want to necessarily hear this.
All right, moving on. But yeah, we'd do that, and then I'd pull the pig out. We had this huge, like, I don't know, like 3-foot, 4-foot lever that we'd pull to flop the pig out, and then it wouldn't come all the way out, so I'd have to grab its feet, and while it was in scorching water, and burn my hands each time.
Oh, that sounds
so yeah, I can still feel things, so that's nice.
Ooh-wee. Still got finger feels.
Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely not like the brightest point in my life.
I feel that. I mean, I worked in a planer doing graveyard shifts for 4 months, and it was the worst. I'd start work at midnight, work until about 8:30 in the morning, and there was like a certain point where like I was only working one day, lowest guy on the totem pole for seniority. And I mean, if you get anybody out there that listens to this that that's worked at the middle and worked their way up seniority ladder, like props to you. Like that's a lot of work. I found myself like I'd done all this different things, and there was like one day, and I was working really late, and I was the only guy on because the other guy I was working with, he didn't quit. He just didn't show up to work sometimes. And so I had to clean up the whole planer, which that's an awful lot of work, end to end.
I bet, yeah.
I was just like, you know what, there has to be anything better out there.
Yeah.
Because you're the only guy, and you're, the soup's coming by at, 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning, 6:00 in the morning, poking your ass with a prod, essentially, just like, hurry up, get.
Why isn't this clean?
Exactly, work faster. And I was like, you know what, F this, I'm out.
Yeah. I was actually trying to get a job at the same place because we lived at the same town that time.
Almost same street.
Yep. No, you're one street up like 4 blocks, 5 blocks down.
Yeah, 4 or 5 blocks.
Yeah, 45 blocks.
45 blocks.
Yeah.
Like a brisk 10-15 minute walk.
Yeah. And I both liked living in that town, but also not.
Yeah, I agree.
It's nice. I love the internet. I miss the internet, to be honest.
I miss your
internet. Oh yeah, it was so good. It's like 300 up and down megabytes per second. God,
I get like 2 megabytes now.
2?
Yeah,
I think that's more than me.
Somebody told me recently that I might have one of the better non-business internet download upload speeds in the valley.
Oh yeah, because you have that telesub, right?
Yep, I got that TV Smart Hub. Recommend 10 out of 10.
I honestly would, except for the valley that we live in is we have dead spots like
everywhere.
Cell phones. Like the only places that you can get service is either in the main downtown area or like up valley area, and those are the only real 2 good spots for cellular service.
Yep.
And like, God, how far do you think that cell service actually goes? Like less than a kilometer?
Less than
2 kilometers?
Maybe. If we're talking like out towards the inlet, it makes it a ways out there. But that's because it's a straight shot.
Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, But yeah, no, the internet up valley that I can't make it any more than maybe 2 kilometers.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and I found out the other day, maybe this doesn't need to be on a podcast, but found out the other day that our cell tower actually it's a part of CBC's up on the mountain,
Yeah.
and instead of having an omnidirectional dish on it, it has
Yeah.
a directional one that's just pointing downtown.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do you think it would be better if it was, what do you say, omnidirectional?
omnidirectional.
So, like,
Not
as in it goes
omnidirectional.
everywhere?
Yeah, it would go everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I guess it won't go as far then if it was just shooting everywhere then.
Yeah, you'd have to scale up really, really high. But
Yeah.
I mean, something I was talking to an IT guy about days ago was if we get a dish like either omnidirectional or even just something that can shoot, like perhaps like 180. If we could have something to do 180, we'd still be able to hit the highest population areas. So something we're looking to get into a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
down the road after we get fiber here.
Oh god, I can't wait till fiber.
Yo, it is here now.
Oh yeah.
They've channeled it through the inlet, and it's coming up the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what one of our friends actually told me. I'm not gonna name names
Yeah.
because I don't know if I'm supposed to be sharing this. But anyways, it was supposed to be coming in. I think it was this week when they're actually installing everything in the roads. Like, I'm not quite too sure how long it is until a house gets it or someone gets it. I'm assuming it's going to be like still a month or so down the road.
I bet you. Yeah, because I mean, they had to make this last week and this week work because of their permitting through the conservancy that's down there.
Mm.
Yeah, between the conservancy and then the local First Nations also had problems with the excavation that they had to do because of the hooligan channels that are in that area, so they didn't really want anybody interfering,
Messing around with that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
they had a very narrow window. They got it done,
Yeah. But yeah, for people who don't know, and some places along the coast, like the town that we live in, what is it, the drag netters? The killers?
Sane netters.
Sane netters decimated the whole hooligan population, and we just don't have any more hooligans. And for our culture, it was highly...
They were like
held?
a keystone species almost for us.
Yeah. Because...
Yeah, I mean, if we'd lost hooligan back when say 100 years ago, right? Like, that's not very long ago, 1920s. Like, say 100 years ago, if we'd lost the hooligan at that point, like, our people probably would have almost starved out. That's how
probably.
Yeah, because we would have been all dependent on just the salmon populations and local hunting, and we'd get exhausted. So.
Oh, God. And plus, our people weren't really hunters.
No, we were fishermen.
Fishermen and traders.
Yeah.
Because, like, my family branch, I found out that was actually traders, so we'd trade, like, furs and hooligan grease. And God, the way that we make hooligan grease is so gross. From what I've been told, because I've never actually been a part of one. Because, what is it, around our age? Or when we were born?
When we were born.
Those...
Sane netters.
Sane netters.
Yeah, so they're the sane netters context. What they do is they take a big, gigantic net with very tight netting on it.
Yeah.
And what it's meant to do is catch herring fish. And so herring, as you know, are very small, right? They're like 4 or 5 inches long, right? Maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches thick. And so it's meant to catch these, and they're the exact same size as our hooligan, just different species. But as these guys were catching their herring, their bycatch of hooligan was so high because of our just
they're
amazing
just so
ecosystem.
plentiful.
Yeah, they were very plentiful at that point. And so they were catching like hundreds and hundreds of tons a ship would of bycatch of these hooligan.
Yeah.
And that's what, in the end ended up killing them all off.
Oh yeah, I just find it kind of ridiculous. Like they were trying to do that here.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I'd imagine there's herring all over the place.
There are, yeah.
But like coming here and like, what do you think a percentage of that would be? Like, I'd say at least 50%, if not more, the byproduct was hooligans.
Yeah, I would say probably more. If 50%, if not more. Yep.
Yeah, because it's I don't know. I just find it kind of stupid.
Well, those seine boats came in here. Like we had people come in from, I think it was China, come and settle here. You visit our local museum, they have photos of they came here in the late 1800s. A lot of them stuck around, but out like it was during that period, that's when they started doing like the trolling and stuff like that. And it wasn't, until the 60s and 70s when that really picked up, and it wasn't regulated on the coast here.
Oh yeah.
And that's just
like, also, by the way, I have nothing against fishermen and whatnot. My uncles and my whole family has at least several fishermen in there, and I just don't like how they went about fishing.
Yeah, well,
I have nothing against fishing itself, but
yeah, I mean
but
that's
still,
that's still right. I mean, like the practices of the few generations before us, right? You can really see it. Like in the case of the Ooligan, you can really see it. I mean, even looking at certain species of salmon now in our ecosystem, their numbers are starting to really drop. Yeah, well, I was asked to help out with looking into getting a secondary fish hatchery going here to supplement the one that we already have going. And I started looking into the numbers, and I asked a very simple question: was, well, how many how many fish in our ecosystem are hatched at a hatchery, and how many are natural? And I was told that we don't count that here.
Oh.
Yep. I was told that if we counted that here, we would probably find greater than 80% of the fish in our entire valley come from hatchery.
Because we had also another thing that you guys should know is that Elijah and I both were friends since the age of 3-ish.
3.
Yeah. When we were around 3. We're both the same age, by the way.
Yeah. Almost to a T, actually. We're
like a month apart.
Almost exactly.
Yeah, around a month apart.
pretty sticking close.
A little over, I think, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you'd be right. It'd be somewhere around 40.
I remember going to a field trip to the fish hatchery and just seeing how many fish were actually in there.
Yeah.
Like, it was just ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say at least over 500 fish were in easy. Oh, and that's like the parts that we saw. Oh, and that's not like compared to the other parts that we've didn't get to see. Yeah, I was kind of freaked out. Like, what if I fell in there? They're gonna eat me.
Man, they would certainly try.
Yeah.
Well, and like something else that I figured out is if you go into like DFO, their website, and actually check out the different areas, anybody at any given time can access this data and see exactly what the fish count was for every year from, I think it's like 1960 all the way up until now. It's going to be 2022. I mean, this year won't be counted until 2023, of course, and 2021's data is not going to be able to until this year. But what I was going to point out here is that our fish hatchery actually is one of the few that's on our coast. And so our fish hatchery makes sure that like 4 or 5 other inlets and coastal communities, all of their rivers also have fish.
Yeah.
And we do lots of unpopulated rivers and streams as well to try and balance it out.
Oh.
And so when you think about how many commercial fishermen actually, like, say you pull in one opening 600 fish, right? 600 salmon. And there's 30, 40, 100, 200 boats out there, in different fishing areas, right? Different opening areas.
Yeah.
And they're all getting, 300 to 600 fish in one opening. It's sometimes better, right? Like if they're really hitting the bigger areas, like that impact plus food fishing, it's a little disheartening, actually.
Well, I mean, they're still there,
Which is good, yeah.
But like, just knowing that we have to go through such lengths to, keep their survival.
Oh, wait, you want to hear another one that's like it's a little bit more, I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, holy smokes. Oh no, I almost lost my thought. I got it. I was grasping at straws and I got it.
Yeah.
So salmon, right? So for anyone who's unfamiliar with how salmon spawn, right? So essentially, let's start from an egg. There's an egg in a creek, and it was, male and a female. They both got together. They found a nice little gravel bed. They put their eggs in there, right? The egg goes through a couple of different cycles, and then it hatches.
Mm-hmm.
And then that egg that fry then spends a specific amount of time in that creek where it grew up.
Yeah.
And then it hits a certain size and it goes out to the ocean. And then that fish stays out there for 4 years. Let's just use an average 4-year cycle. And then it comes back. So within those 4 years, there's going to be all the other years that came back to those exact spawning beds to go and have their babies again. But say you left, and on your 4-year cycle, we had a flood here.
Yeah.
And
Which
now,
happens a lot.
Which happens an awful lot.
It's like almost every year we have like a mini flood.
Right? And now say you're 4-inch thick, maybe 40-inch long salmon that's come back up the creek. And now salmon, with their fins, they can only move rocks that are, the term I believe biologists use is 3-inch minus. So anything smaller than 3 inches, a fish cannot move it with their fins. And so any area that that has been either washed out from flooding, it pushes all the fine sediment and gravel down. And it pushes it into the main channel, and then from the main channel it gets pushed out and into our estuary, and that's how all of our sediment is dealt with. And if you go through and you actually look at all of these different creeks, and you start to look at all of the spawning beds that are left for our salmon in these areas where they will migratorily come back to, we are on average losing every year. I'm going to just say probably 5% of our spawning ground every time we have one of these incidents.
Oh, yeah.
And so to me, that's another big issue, is that we're losing fish from overfishing and fish industry. But that's not the only issue. Is we're also losing fish to their own environments.
Yeah, just nature.
Yeah.
Like the river that I knew growing up when I was a kid is like drastically different from the river that we have now.
Of course, yeah.
Because I remember back when I was a kid, the river used to be kind of like a green turquoise color, more on the green side. And if you look at our river now, like the majority of the time, it's just brown because of all the silt and floods that we've had. I remember this one time when there was a flood here. I think I saw it on Facebook about this guy in kayaking beside the road or on the road.
Oh, that was down Grant Road, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
I thought it was up in the Berg.
It might have been the Berg. Was that going to like the store up there?
I think it was someone going to the store or something among those.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
the parking lot there it's higher ground.
But it might have been at the Grant. I wouldn't be surprised if multiple people have, got out their canoe or their kayak and started kayaking down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, even you look at like other natural disasters that have happened throughout the world, and you always get the people that have, canoes and kayaks and things, and like, what a better opportunity to use something like that than that exact,
yeah, you have it, might as well use it, right?
Totally.
I've been wanting to get a kayak or a canoe or something. My dad has one, but I just always feel bad, asking, like, oh, hey, and then also, like, I drive a car, so, like, how am I gonna transport this? Like, you've seen how long it was, like about 15 feet long?
Must be.
Somewhere around there, at least. So it's, like, longer than my car, because when I brought it back home, I had this Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I loved. Absolutely loved that thing. Horrible on fuel, but I loved it.
Yeah, but it could go a lot of places.
It could go everywhere. God, I was climbing on this one side of a mountain with Dylan, and yeah, we were like at least almost 45, like about 40 degrees, I'd say. It was just, I'm probably exaggerating it, but it felt like that.
It felt like a 45 degree.
Because we were like, did Elijah and everyone else go down this road? And Dylan and I were like, I don't know. Are we in front of them? Are they behind us?
That's when we went swimming
That is
at
that till.
lake.
Yeah.
Till, yeah. Oh, that was a beautiful lake.
Yeah.
A water snake.
Oh, God, the snakes. Oh, I think it was it that? No, I don't think it was that trip. At the same lake with, I don't know, a couple of people there. I jumped off because we were quote unquote cliff diving. It was like probably like 10 feet up, 20 feet up.
20 feet maybe.
at max 20 feet.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna jump off. So I jumped off, and I splashed in the water. Fine, everything was good. But the rush of water went into my ear. It felt like it popped my ear because like it hurt. Like imagine getting punched in the eardrum, because that's what it felt like. I was deaf for like a good 20 minutes, half hour later. Yeah. So after that, we still had a really good time and whatnot. Then we go back to our homes and whatnot, and then for the life of me, I could not sleep at all. I had a couple of Tylenol and some, Advil and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's just still kept on hurting and hurting and hurting. And then it was like about 1 a.m. I decided to go to ER and be like, hey, I think I popped or burst my eardrum or something.
Happened to you guys.
Because like anyone who knows me knows that I have a high pain tolerance.
Yeah, but it's your ears though.
Yeah, it's my
What do you
ear.
do when it's your ears?
Like if it's a cut. Oh, we'll talk about the cut on my hand.
Hey.
Maybe
do
next.
we even have enough time this time?
No, it's about 27 minutes now. And so maybe on our next podcast we'll talk about let's talk about camping, our random camping trips,
camping,
and because I got this cut on my hand, and we'll tell you about that and just other random stuff.
Cole, you have to finish your story.
Oh, what are they talking about?
Your hospital trip story.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, it was like 1 a.m. or so, and I went into the ER, and I sat there for about, I don't know, like an hour, or something. Just like, I just want to go home now. It's not hurting as bad now. But it was just so painful. Managed to finally see them, and I was sitting on the cot, and they came in, and they had that weird microscope or something that they put in your ear.
Yeah.
And they were like, you have a lot of earwax, so we can't, if we remove it, we might cause more damage.
Oh.
In the end, after all of that waiting, like a good hour, and there was also this random kid in the ER with me with their mom, because their dad or something was, I don't know, hurt.
Yeah.
It's just ER things. But with my ear being, I think it was popped or just a hole, or maybe I just, put a lot of pressure on it or something. I still don't know what happened to my ear because I never went back.
So weird.
And so this kid was screaming and yelling, and my ear, I forget even which ear it was that I heard. It was just piercing and stinging and horrible. I'm just holding my ear. And this kid just keeps on yelling and screaming. Like, I didn't get mad at them because it's
You're a kid,
something you
right?
can't control.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just some random,
Adult
dude our age or older, then I'd be like, hey, my ear hurts. Can you be quiet? But it's a kid.
It's a child.
About like 5, 6-ish. So I just, kept to myself. Because, not a whole lot we can do.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Your ear fixed itself.
Before I had tinnitus, like I think it's tinnitus, right?
It's tinnitus, yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I still get it. But I personally think it was because all the construction work that I did in my youth.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because all those loud machines. Because my dad is a plumber, and I used to work for him when I was a kid, just for extra pocket change.
Oh yeah.
Because my parents did give me allowance, but they weren't really into that, so I just go help my dad at work.
Yeah, which was easy.
Yeah, and I got paid.
Taught
me lessons. The stuff that I did was like, go clean this, go organize that, go clean up this random stuff over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks like we've come to the end of our time limit.
I feel like if Dylan ever listened, what, this is it? It's not 3 hours long? Guys.
Maybe in the future we'll do longer episodes, but I'd wanted to keep this right around half an hour-ish, just at the start, and if this starts gaining more traction, then we will be doing more, longer episodes. Also, like, you can also just comment on this video if you want it longer, or if you think we should do shorter ones, like about 10-minute long.
Yeah, anything you guys want us to talk about, leave us a comment.
Or like or dislike, because we can actually see that. So if you like some subject, just, give it a thumbs up. If not, if it wasn't your cup of tea, do a thumbs down.
Yeah, exactly, because we can change our content and mesh around, but we're just hoping to have general conversations and,
talk about stuff. Yeah. Like the first couple, we're probably going to be talking about ourselves.
Yeah, mostly.
Just, to let you guys know who we are and what to expect and whatnot. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and have a good night, afternoon, or morning. Happy whatever time of the day it is.
Time of the day.
Yeah.
Good job.
And thanks for listening again.
Goodbye, I guess.
Bye.
Yeah.